Allegiance. Thank you, Carly. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everybody. We are going to start with the good news report tonight. Deanne.
Our room is filled with good news, actually. We have two-part good news to bring you tonight. And first, we're going to start with middle schooler Sarah Newitt. And Sarah, if you'll come forward, please. So Sarah had a very engaging project that she submitted for National History Day. And Sarah's an 8th grader at Memorial Middle School. And we're gonna do a little Q&A, and we're gonna talk about her project that she's submitted to the National History Day program. So Sarah, her project is about Ruby Bridges, and we're gonna see a video here shortly. But Sarah, what about the story of Ruby Bridges drew you to create this project and choose this topic?
Okay, so during my research, I needed to accumulate a lot of primary sources, and because I was doing a documentary, a lot of these primary sources was in the form of a documentary. I guess I was watching footage, right? And as I was going through this footage, it was really appealing, really saddening, really emotional of just what our world has come to, what a 6-year-old could have gone through just for simply showing up for school each day. And I love going to school, and I just thought it would have been the worst thing to just have what she had go through.
And she's going to explain a little more in the video here, so yeah, you can become more familiar with Ruby Bridges as well. But what's one of the surprising facts that you learned while you were doing your research and presentation?
A surprising fact that I found out was, well, I actually started out with some of my research. It was in the form of footage, but I also, I conducted an interview with someone named Adrena Kelly, and she is the head of a foundation called BNOLA, that stands for Black Education in New Orleans, Louisiana. And so what that is she's just kind of making sure that people of all races, specifically African Americans, can get the education they need. And I was doing this interview with her, and she really went on to say that the school systems aren't as integrated as we feel maybe they should be. I was honestly comparing it to how our education system is up north. It was kind of surprising to see that a lot of what she called white flight. It was a lot of white Americans now attend private schools, and now the public school system of the city is mostly made up of African Americans. That didn't mean that Ruby Bridges did integrating a school was any less historically significant, but it just changed how I thought about the impact. And I found that just to be really fascinating and interesting.
Great, Sarah. What new skills did you learn as you put this together? Were you already a good video producer, or what do you think you learned in the process?
Well, I had put together a few documentaries before that, so it was kind of just like touching up on my skills, improving my skills as far as that went. But I learned a lot more about a topic I was passionate about, and it helped me see the world in a better way, and that will definitely help me out later in life. And I also got more used to citing sources and doing more of a further research that can go a long way to be able to put together a project that is.
She's already done a couple of documentaries. Mm-hmm. How many of you in this room can say that? Not me. And you are coming up on a trip in June to the National History Day Conference. Tell us a little bit about that. What are you most looking forward to?
Yeah, so Washington, D.C., I'm going all places. But the things I'm most excited about are the government-owned museums. It's like you just get to go and study history, study facts just for free. You don't really have to pay. And I thought that was pretty interesting. So I'm excited for that.
Also, awesome. So we're going to watch a couple of minutes of the documentary that Sarah put together, and then have a word or two from her teacher. And this really did work before. Why would it not work now? Oh, yeah. Totally
Creator
turned down.
with certain
Sorry, thank you.
inalienable rights.
We'll start
The
back over.
Declaration of Independence quotes, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." That may be what our famous document says, but oftentimes that's not been the case here in the United States of America. For example, if all humankind are created equal, shouldn't we all have equal education opportunities? Ruby Bridges, how one 6-year-old became a frontier in history. In the 20th century, public schools were based on a separate but equal policy, although usually there were notable differences between the quality of segregated schools. White classrooms would have better resources. Unfortunately, many people accepted this inequality, also known as the Jim Crow laws, as just a way of life. This especially happened in the southern parts of America. However, in 1954, the Brown versus Board of Education of Topeka ruled racial segregation in public schools unethical. As a result, kindergartner and African-American Ruby Bridges, along with the rest of her segregated New Orleans kindergarten, took a difficult test to see if they were logical enough to attend a white school. Ruby passed and was given the opportunity to attend the currently all-white William Frantz Elementary. Her parents, Avon and Lucille Bridges, both wanted what was best for her, but Avon was wary about letting his daughter be on the front lines of this frontier in history. After all, the other children integrating were all going to a different school, McDowell Elementary. And past experiences with school integration in other areas had not gone well, such as the violent results of the Little Rock 9 integration. However, Lucille, Ruby's mother, convinced Avon to let their daughter attend William Frantz. It wasn't that Ruby's previous school was bad, it was just that this new school would mean more resources and opportunity for Ruby. On her first day, federal marshals came to Ruby's home to pick her up.
Main thing was just be sure nothing happened to her.
Once they arrived, a massive crowd was gathered around William Frantz.
I thought I'd stumble onto a Mardi Gras parade.
All day long, white mothers took their kids out of school so that their old way of life, segregation, could continue. The chaos.
I don't know about you, but the rest of the video is just as good as the first couple of minutes. Don't sit down here yet, young lady. It's about 9.5 minutes long, so we're not going to play the entire thing, but very gripping. Not only is she a great storyteller, but she's a great narrator. And I said she's probably got a future in using her voice. She's actually also, after this, going to participate in some theater if she gets there in time at 6 o'clock. So we're gonna have her teacher, Holly Matson, come forward to just tell us a little bit about her perspective on Sarah's project. And I'm sure Holly gets to see lots of great projects that are submitted for National History Day, but this one just seems like it's got a pretty good chance at being top.
Hello, Holly Matson, Sarah's teacher. And in our school, we have all of our accelerated social studies students work on a National History Day project. This is kind of our chance to let them look at something of their interest. So we had a variety of topics from a variety of timelines. Sarah's was very engaging, and honestly, the first time she shared a draft with me and wanted some advice, I was like, it's almost perfect. And so I had to go back and watch it really carefully and find anything. She has such an initiative in everything she does, but this project specifically, she put in a lot of hours before the school year even started. She found out about the theme for the year, was interested in getting some research gathered, and she has been motivated and passionate all the way through. So we wish her the best in DC in June.
Any questions for Sarah?
Can we get a link to the full video?
Yeah. Are we able to share? I'm not sure exactly.
Or is that
Is it legal for us to share? Okay, I have it as well. I just want to make sure we're not going against any rules for National History Day. So certainly we'll put that out on our website. I think you'll be teaching a few people along the way, as I had long forgotten the story of Ruby Bridges.
Awesome.
Thank you for being here.
Congratulations, Sarah, 5 years ago, my son John went to National History Day, and the students were all sprawled out on the campus of the University of Maryland to listen to Stephen Ambrose. And you're maybe familiar with Stephen Ambrose. He's one of the leading historians for biography research. But it's such a prestigious event to get to go to, and we're really proud of you. Enjoy yourself.
Awesome.
Congratulations.
Sarah, did you bring any guests with you that you would like to introduce to us? Do you have anybody with you?
Parents and my brothers are here.
Well,
Oh, my parents and my brothers are here. Yep.
thank you.
And I can imagine Sarah will be one of the next group that we're going to celebrate here today as well. More good news, the National Merit Scholarship Corporation 70 years ago set out to recognize the most academically talented students across the nation. And each year, approximately 15,000 of the nation's best and brightest students are named as National Merit Finalists. Sioux Falls this year is proud to announce that we have 17 students named to the finalist list. Just before tonight's board meeting, we held a reception in their honor and had their parents here along with them. So we would like to recognize them publicly. As you know, graduation was yesterday, so we have a lot of activity happening in addition to practices that are still going on for state, like track and debate and all kinds of things like that. So if the student is here, we ask them to please stand and remain standing as we recognize from Jefferson High School, Ethan Berman and Samantha Anderson. From Lincoln High School, Reem Barakat, Quentin Boyd, Makia Buchanan, Max Danielson, Emma Forster, Cassidy Jennings, Eva Knutson, Ben Kwali, Rekov Tucker, Jing Yang, Lauren Yu, and Alina Zatirka. From Lincoln High School, moving on to Roosevelt, Quentin Doral and Ava Steffen. And from Washington High School, Noah Spain. So please help me congratulate our National Merit finalists that were able to join us here this evening. They have many opportunities ahead for them with this academic excellence, and so we're very proud to have them as part of the Sioux Falls Public Schools. So thank you. You guys can have a seat. I'm not going to make any of them talk. But we also have another special guest we wanted to bring forward. We had a U.S. presidential scholar this year, Andrew Wynn, from Jefferson High School. Andrew, please stand up. Andrew was named, actually, we just found out about it last week, and he was honored at his high school as well as at the graduation ceremony as well. And this is one of the nation's highest honors for high school students. So really speaks volumes about the educational commitment Andrew's abilities and just what the future holds for him is endless as well. And we're all very proud of Andrew and thankful for his family who supported him, but also, you know, we owe a debt of gratitude to the teachers along the way who helped Andrew become what he is today and what he will be in the future as well. So please help me congratulate Andrew on this significant accomplishment. And with that, we will leave you to the rest of your board meeting.
And we would remind all of you that you can exit unless you have a high interest in the rest of our meeting. So thank you for being here.
Thank you and congratulations. All right, we'll move on with the agenda. Can I get a motion and a second to approve the minutes of the meeting held on May 8th, please?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion passes. We have six people wishing to address the board tonight on non-agenda topics. We will start with Jessica Mulhare. Please come up to the podium, and I'm going to give a couple of statements before you start. So just for those of you that are new to the public forum piece, I'm just going to read a little bit of this. This portion of the agenda is available for individuals wishing to address the board about a district-related subject. An individual wishing to address the board on a district-related issue must sign up prior. We know that. The speaker is limited to 5 minutes, regardless of the number of subjects a person wishes to cover. If multiple individuals sign up to speak on the same topic, total testimony on the topic shall be limited to 15 minutes per side of the issue as determined by me. We ask you to state your name and your address. The speaker may not give oral complaints regarding district personnel or personnel actions. Complaints regarding district personnel are to be addressed to the superintendent in private. No individual attacks, no complaints identifying individual students, and that's pretty much it. So we will start with Jessica. You have 5 minutes on your topic, and Carly has a 1 minute, 30-second reminder.
We also later in the day emailed about Lori Pocola joining me.
Yep, we have that. So,
Okay,
yep.
so do I stop at 5 and then she starts, or can we just continue through?
It's 5 minutes per person. So 5 minutes for you and 5 minutes for her.
That's good. I'm gonna have Lori start then.
All right, so just state your name and your address, please.
Yeah, my name is Lori Pocola. My address is 407 South Blauvelt Avenue, Sioux Falls, South Dakota, 57103. What is $10,000? $10,000 is a used car. It's a student loan paid off. It's a family vacation overseas. $10,000 is a stock portfolio. It's a year's worth of groceries. It's a medical bill erased. $10,000 is joy, it's security, it's peace of mind. $10,000 is also the amount of money that a 22-year-old first-year special education teacher will get as a signing bonus for the upcoming school year in the Sioux Falls School District. 22 years old, while a 22-year teaching veteran gets nothing. Last week, the Sioux Falls School District announced that every person who signs a contract to teach special education from here forward will receive $10,000. With this hiring incentive, the district has allowed the salary of teachers in step A1 to exceed every row, that's A through G, in steps 1 through 4. That means that someone who is in their 14th year of teaching or more with their master's degree will be making less than a brand new college graduate. Last year, a similar incentive was created in the amount of $5,000. Did the district find this tactic to be an effective gamble for recruiting and retaining high-quality teachers, since they not only repeated the incentive, they doubled down on it? A direct quote from the school district: "The prior bonus of $5,000 was not generating the interest needed to fill the 20-plus vacancies. Here's a snapshot of what happened with that $5,000 incentive last year. Incentivized teachers who were underprepared and overwhelmed quit mid-year. Teachers who found themselves disinterested did not, as they had promised, take courses to become certified to teach SPED. Why would they? There were no stipulations or contingencies to that bonus. One teacher who had been hired in the district mid-year shared, "I read that contract over and over just to make sure I read it, but sure enough, less than 1 year in special education and I got that money." This teacher has now returned to teach in the general education classroom. Here's a snapshot of what happened with the veteran special education teachers who did not receive the $5,000 bonus. We continue to perform our essential functions and duties. Let me pause to define essential. These are absolutely necessary, extremely important, with synonyms such as crucial, necessary, key, vital, indispensable, needed, and required. Were the same required functions and duties modified for non-certified special education teachers? No. How then were these essential, vital, indispensable functions and duties carried out? They were carried out by certified, veteran special education colleagues. Mentoring was daily. In-house, on-the-spot training for procedures was constant. Daily checking and rechecking of legal documents was implied and carried out. What is being done to protect and retain highly qualified veteran special education teachers? Another quote from the Sioux Falls School District. The district will continue to seek strategies to recruit and retain teachers in severe applicant shortage areas. The word continue implies that strategies to retain teachers have been sought. What are these strategies? At the time the decision was announced early last week, there were 13 open special education teaching positions. By the end of the week, 13 grew to 20+ open positions. A special education teacher is required for a caseload of anywhere from 15 to 25 students. With that range, that means there will be anywhere from 300 to 500 students whose special education teacher and case manager may not be certified to teach special education. Not only will those teachers stand in front of students, those teachers or their already overwhelmed and overworked colleagues will be in charge of the individualized instruction for those 300 to 500 students. For the point on this topic, I remind you that an IEP is a legally binding contract between families and the school district, one that at any moment could be taken to litigation for adherence to current special education law. Is a $10,000 bonus for an inexperienced teacher really the most effective solution here?
Thank you. State your name and address, please.
Jess Mulhare, 1700 South Purdue, Sioux Falls, South Dakota, 57106. Okay. So what if, instead of luring questionably interested and underqualified teachers to special education, which requires more and the most passion, we treated the teachers who currently serve in this capacity with the dignity and respect warranted in their current role? What if we honored the fact that special education teachers work with the children in our schools who require the most direct and targeted instruction by giving these teachers more time to plan for individual specialized instruction? As it currently stands, special education teachers at the middle school level have half the amount of planning time as their general education colleagues. In elementary schools, special education teachers take their planning time in 10 to 15-minute chunks as their schedule allows. What if we recognized that the bachelor's, master's, and specialist degrees we have worked for and paid for ourselves meant something to our district and our profession? And what if advancement opportunities, benefits, or personal days were given reflectively on these accomplishments? What if we acknowledge the fact that a degree in special education actually takes more education than other teaching roles, with an increase in the pay scale, as special education requires at a minimum 15 credits of additional coursework, and in some cases up to 23 additional credits of coursework beyond what is required to teach in the general education classroom. What if, much like current staff are required to teach for 5 years within the Sioux Falls district before being compensated for a master's degree, this incentive plan was set up similarly. Perhaps a 5-year contingency plan with incentive money being granted each year and culminating at the completion of the teacher's special education certification. On a more personal note, I love my job. I love the opportunities I have to work with students and families and support agencies within our community. I love that acquaintances, friends, and family come to me with questions about special education in our district and in our state. I've always taken great pride in speaking about this profession and what I do with confidence, empathy, and respect. However, when news of this incentive broke, I felt like it took my breath away and left me feeling really confused at the how and the why we got here as a district. To conclude today, I'd like to leave you with some questions. Again, what is being done to retain the highly qualified veteran special education teachers? As our district states, it is continuing to seek strategies to retain teachers in shortage areas. And how should we respond when our non-special special education colleagues ask us how we feel about this incentive with looks of disbelief and concern? Are we supposed to keep our heads up, defend this incentive, and feel proud of not being compensated in a similar fashion? Can you provide us with more statistics? How many teachers received the $5,000 incentive in the 22-23 school year? Furthermore, of those who received it, what is the percentage of those teachers who have signed a contract to teach special ed in the 23-24 school year? And further on, what is the percentage of those who were non-certified who are actively seeking certification or have become certified to teach special education? So, what is $10,000 to a special education teacher with 17 of her 19 years experience being in this district? $10,000 to this newly divorced mother of 3 is a pretty nice down payment on a new vehicle when her '07 minivan finally died. $10,000 to this same teacher is helping her oldest child pay for groceries, laundry detergent, and gas during her first year of college. $10,000 to this same teacher is helping to provide a stable home to her 2 younger children by making a mortgage payment each month. I don't really know what $10,000 is to a 22-year-old teacher fresh out of college, because to be honest, I can't even imagine fathoming that amount of money at that age. But speaking for myself and several of my colleagues, I can tell you that being on the non-receiving end of that $10,000 kind of feels like a big giant slap in the face. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we have Maria Agrawal. Sorry if I didn't pronounce that right. Again, name and address, please. We've got 5 minutes. Yes.
Thanks.
Good evening. My name is Maria Agrawal. Jenna has my address documented. Thank you for this opportunity to address the board. I'm sure many of you here are parents, perhaps you're parents of school-aged children. For any parent, one constant dilemma is regarding children's internet use. We can all regulate what our children access on the internet at home on our personal devices, but if the school issues devices such as Chromebooks to students, parents are unable to fully regulate what their kids can access. In the case of school-issued Chromebooks, it falls on the school to regulate children's online activity. In this regard, the Sioux Falls School District has an elaborate technology policy as documented in policies IJNCD and IJNCDR, acceptable and ethical use of technology resources. In these policies, the district's stance seems clear. Internet use on school-issued Chromebooks should be educational in content and should directly support the curriculum. For my 6th grade son, 2 problems have persisted during the 2022-23 school year with regard to internet access on his school-issued Chromebook: online video games and YouTube. We appreciated his school's effort to address the video game issue when it became a big distraction at the beginning of the school year. Emails assured parents that students would face disciplinary action for accessing video games and that teachers were monitoring student activity via classroom LAN monitoring software. This was well and good, but we were left frustrated and feeling sorry for our teachers that instructional time is being used to monitor and discipline students over online gaming. The solution seemed simple to us: block all internet sites that don't directly support school curriculum and have teachers opt into sites needed for their classrooms via the district IT department. The second and most concerning issue with regard to school Chromebooks is student access to YouTube. The problem with YouTube is that it's filled with both educational content and distracting, sometimes objectionable content. It is often not possible for YouTube's algorithm to discern the difference. Many parents who have experience with YouTube Kids can attest to this. If YouTube's own algorithms and filters cannot safeguard children's content, I can't imagine other filters would be able to achieve solid and meaningful content safeguarding. Content creators are savvy in getting around algorithms in order to put their content in front of the largest possible audience, including unsuspecting children. I would argue for a full blocking of student access to YouTube on school-issued Chromebooks. Here's an example that solidified my stance. A few years ago, my son found the Infinite Comparison YouTube channel on our personal home devices. This is a channel we have long since banned in our home due to the highly objectionable nature of the videos. Alarmingly for us, we discovered that our son had accessed infinite comparisons on YouTube on his school-issued Chromebook. Please refer to the handouts of screenshots I took of my son's school-issued Chromebook within the last month. These screenshots are of the Infinite Comparison channel on YouTube, which passed through the district's internet filter, CK Express. At first glance, you can see how this channel might trick algorithms or internet filters. The thumbnails and captions are fairly innocuous, with their cartoonish graphics and bland titles. The channel itself seems benign, describing itself as data-oriented, informational, and interesting. On closer look, I'm sure you'll understand why we banned our 11-year-old son from this content. I won't describe every video in front of you, but for example, in a video titled "Why Students Get Expelled," results include starting a fire and stripping. Other videos allude to sexually explicit activity and generally unseemly behavior. In addition to being objectionable, I don't see this YouTube content supporting district curriculum. 2 months ago, I raised my concerns about YouTube with district personnel and have been communicating with the relevant people via email. My queries remain outstanding, but I'm sure they're being addressed. I know we all want what is best for the children in our schools, and I recognize there can be some difficulty in keeping up with changing technology. It is my hope that the Sioux Falls School District will seriously consider my concerns with regard to student internet access on school Chromebooks and take steps to more liberally block internet sites that don't directly support curriculum and lesson plans. Let's give students an environment where they can focus on the curriculum and not on distractions. I understand that YouTube can be useful as a source of educational videos. There should be ways for teachers to access YouTube without students needing access to the site. One tool teachers can use to show YouTube content is viewpure.com, where they can generate a new URL from a YouTube video, resulting in students seeing only the desired video, no comments, and no sidebar of suggested YouTube videos. Another option is to embed YouTube videos in a Google slide. Thanks for listening to my concerns about internet access on school-issued Chromebooks. I would be grateful and happy to discuss my concerns with any of you, and I have included my contact info on the handouts. Thanks again, and I hope you all have a great summer.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, next we have Michelle Klimek. Please come up, state your name and address, please.
Hi, good evening, Michelle Klimek. I've got a couple thank yous.
Address, please. Sorry.
What's that?
Your address, please.
Oh, yep, so just Michelle Klimek. Yep. As long as it's written down on the paper there, I've been told that we don't have to state that.
Brett, do you agree, legal counsel?
Yeah, that was confirmed with Cynthia.
Okay.
Okay, great, thanks. So I'd like to thank Mark and Nan and Statham for your presence at the Washington High graduation yesterday. It was very amazing. My son's high school experience was successful and many contributed to that. I'd like to say a big thank you to Principal Papke, amazing woman. Mr. Mauchow. My son spoke highly of his teachers, and often he spoke of Mr. Smith. I'd like to thank Mr. Smith. Good man. Other exceptional influences we are grateful for are the Warriors baseball coaches. I'll tell you, big influences on those boys. he was successful, academics and sports, and that is, we appreciate that. So I got a couple handouts. I'm gonna kind of do what I did last time. Just start them over here. So that's from the same book I provided last time, May 8th, I think it was, we had our last meeting. And that is available at Lincoln High School and Jefferson High School. It's called The Sun and Her Flowers by Rupi Kaur. So yeah, if you just want to, oh, you want to take a look? No? Okay, yeah. You might have some legal advice on that one. So I had one page in there that has full nudity, some very sexual, explicit pictures, but I added a page with more images from that book. And just want to make sure, Mark wasn't here last time, make sure Mark gets a look at that again. Lincoln High School and Jefferson High. Thank you.
Thank you. Amy Bruner.
Good evening. I'm Amy Bruner, and I'm here today to continue comments I've made previously with regard to sexually explicit books in the school libraries across the Sioux Falls School District. I just handed you guys a handout, and I would like to take the next 30 seconds of my time to have you read that handout. It's from a book called Me and Earl and the Dying Girl by Jesse Andrews, and that's available through the school district's online Sora library to middle schoolers and high schoolers. And so I'll start my 30 seconds now. Book was available this afternoon as of about 4:30 on a middle school Chromebook from the school. When I have been here previously, I've asked for a tool by which parents can restrict their children from access to sexually explicit material in the public school libraries. And I'd like to thank you for setting up the library services page on your website that allows me to stipulate titles and genres I want withheld from my children. But what is the school district doing to make people aware of this? What are you doing to inform parents that you are making sexually explicit material available to their children and that they have an option to restrict such material from their children? I believe the school district has an obligation to provide parents informed consent when it comes to highly sensitive materials given to their kids. There's already precedent for informed consent. First of all, when the sex ed section is going to be presented in health class, I receive a letter that explains what topics will be covered, and I'm given instructions on how to opt my children out of those days of class if I so choose. Secondly, regarding the surveys the district administers that may ask children about their sexual behaviors, substance use, mental health, home life, family behaviors, etc., when I do the annual information update on Infinite Campus, I'm given a checkbox to either opt my children in or out of those surveys. Should we not consider informed consent for health class and surveys the same as informed consent for books in our public school libraries that give graphic, detailed descriptions of vaginal, anal, and oral sex, rape, molestation, prostitution, masturbation, and material provided in both drawings and written prose erotica? If you don't tell parents what's in the school library, how will they know? Is it reasonable to expect that parents read every single book their child reads before the child reads it? Or instead, should we as parents be able to trust that such material would not be made available to our children without our consent? The school district informs parents what will be discussed in health class, and that information taught in health class is by far less graphic than what's being made available to kids in many books in the school library. I call on the school district to send a letter to every parent in this school district detailing what their children have access to and explaining how they can use the library services page to restrict what their children are accessing. The local media has recently noted that 2 or 3 of us have been quote-unquote griping at recent meetings. Seriously, that is a pejorative interpretation of the situation. In past meetings, I have respectfully asked for a reasonable accommodation. But when the school district created the library services Google Doc, it was done very quietly. No one from the school district bothered to personally contact me that it had been done. I only happened upon the page one day when I was surfing around the school district website. That does not reflect well on your interest in transparent communication. The action in good faith on behalf of the school district would have been to call me, the concerned parent who did the research and took the time to present you with concerns and participate in the civic process. But that did not happen. It makes me wonder if this board actually does view my comments as simply griping. I looked it up, and griping is defined as complaining naggingly or petulantly, and complaining about something in a way that is annoying. I hope that's not how you view my comments and the comments of others who bring concerns before this elected body. And I believe other parents are here in good faith to work with you in the best interest of our children. Parental rights are fundamental, and my involvement is foundational to positive outcomes for my children. I ask you today to commit to better communication and transparency. The district website says the Sioux Falls School District is striving to become the best in the nation. That will only be possible with improved communication and transparency with parents. I hope you will work harder to engage in open dialogue, informed consent, and better communication with us going forward. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Chad.
Good evening. My name is Chad Bishop. I live at 7405 South Valencia Drive here in Sioux Falls. So as a concerned parent of 2 Lincoln High School students, I feel compelled to voice my thoughts regarding the current curriculum and classroom environment at our school. One example, both my daughters, one just recently graduated and another a sophomore, were required to read All American Boys as a part of their freshman year curriculum, an exercise which seems to have been modeled after Paulo Freire's concept of generative theme or experience. While I appreciate the attempt to utilize a Freirean approach to facilitate critical consciousness and dialogues around real-world issues, my daughters reported that the resulting discussions were not conducive to the expression of diverse perspectives. They described instances where their classmates felt intimidated or were shouted down for expressing their views, creating an atmosphere that was far from safe, welcoming, or inclusive, as an educational environment for our students should be. As we undertake to engage students with thought-provoking content, it is vital that we also foster an environment that respects and encourages diverse viewpoints. Our classrooms should not merely replicate the societal issues we face, but also model the democratic, respectful dialogue that is needed to address them. Another significant concern I have is with the exclusion of seminal works like Orwell's 1984, Animal Farm, Huxley's Brave New World, and Bradbury's Fahrenheit 451 from our curriculum, not required. These classics were a crucial part of my own required high school education and offering invaluable insights into societal structures and the necessity of critical thinking. This gap in the curriculum became painfully evident during family discussions. I wanted to compare pervasive use of devices and social media by today's youth as soma, comparing it to Aldous Huxley's Brave New World as a form of digital escape. My daughters were unable to fully appreciate the analogy due to the unfamiliarity with the text. I also wanted to introduce them to the concept of newspeak, where people seem to want to define their own meanings for words, and maybe the memory hole, as we've seen with propaganda that's been pervasive the last 3 years, or that I'm actually holding up 4 fingers. So to address this, I have personally procured these books for our home, but I believe that these essential works should be a part of and parcel to our school's literature program. In closing, I respectfully request 2 things. First, a reconsideration of our literature curriculum to include these classic novels, which not only provide rich literary experiences, but also equip students with timeless insights and critical thinking skills. Second, a thorough review of our classroom environments to ensure that they serve as spaces that foster respect for diverse viewpoints and allow for safe and constructive dialogues. As we prepare our young people for their future, let us ensure that we're equipping them not just with knowledge, but with also the ability to thoughtfully articulate their ideas and engage in respectful discourse with others holding different perspectives. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Madam President, can I have just a couple points of privilege?
Yes, please.
Just a couple of questions for staff. First, Dr. Boyson, have we had any requests for reconsideration of materials since the last board meeting?
We have not had any requests for reconsideration.
Thank you. Second question is for Mrs. Dorman regarding our bonuses. Can you just give us an update on the hiring pool for special ed openings kind of before and after that was added?
Sure. Prior to sending out the information about the incentives, that would have been last Monday, we had nearly 20 vacancies and 4 candidates. Not all 4 of those candidates had special ed certification, okay? Which this is not unlike what we saw last year this time. Since Monday, May 15th, after it went out, we now have 20 applicants. And 6 of these 20, these are new candidates now, they do have their special ed certification, so that's promising. So 2 of these 6, though, are international candidates. So again, that's potentially a hurdle as well, but we did see a little progress after this went out. So.
Yeah, I would just add, you know, this is an issue in districts nationwide. And while we would rather not have to incentivize positions, I'm also not going to apologize for doing whatever we can to fill the positions that we have with the most qualified candidates that we can find. The alternative to that is making administrative moves, which I hope I don't have to do eventually. That is something that is allowable, but what we are hoping to do is attract candidates to our district. We have 20 or so openings. There are districts that have hundreds of them. I hope that we don't find ourselves in that position at some point. This is also why we need our teacher pathway students to come back and why we need to continue to try and have as many candidates as possible from our higher ed partners and to continue encouraging people to be part of educating children. They deserve to have the best people in the classroom. So it's not something that I think any district wants to be doing right now, but with workforce in this area and many areas of public service, unfortunately, we're seeing that as a result of some of the other pressures that are applied right now to public education. So I just wanted Becky to give us a bit of an update. We can find some of that other data, and I can provide that to the board. There's no guarantee with anybody that walks through our doors to be a teacher in a given year. Teaching has never been and will never be an easy profession. We've layered in many supports, as you are aware of, but we continue to look at how we do retain. There are some stipends that have been offered to existing staff, and we've tried to do our best. Of course, those are ongoing costs rather than one-time costs with incentives. So we'll continue to balance that, but Becky, I appreciate the update. Thank you.
I just want to make sure I understand this correctly. So we've listened to, I don't know, half a dozen or more books during this public input, but yet there's been no action taken on the part of submitting a request for a book review with you, Dr. Boyson?
This year we've had 2 requests for us to look at limiting access to books in the library. So that's limiting access, no banning.
Okay, thank you.
No, sorry.
I would just kind of just tag on to the incentive piece that we were just talking about. I would think that as we cast our net broader, trying to recruit certified people to apply, that stipend or that incentive rather would help attract people to move. It would help moving costs, moving to the district. So I think there are just so many layers to it that we have to obviously consider, and that's one of them. So thank you for the clarifications. All right, we have no one wishing to address the board on agenda items, so we'll move on to the approval of the agenda. Can I get a motion and a second, please?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. We had no new conflicts of interest. Moving on to the approval of the consent agenda. Can I get a motion and a second, please?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion passes. On to the supplemental consent agenda. We have items A1, claims to Avera. Can I get a motion and a second, please?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Oop, sorry, no, I do not say that.
Would you like to abstain?
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion passes with one abstention from myself. On to supplemental consent agenda items B, 1, 2, and 3, approval for claims to Sanford. Can I get a motion in a second, please?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That passes with one abstention from Board Member Ryder. And on to the reports of the superintendent. Dr. Stavum.
Yeah, we have a couple of things tonight. Mr. Engdahl, first time up in his position as the Interim Director of Information Technology Services, and we are going to have an update on some of the progress of our work this year. And we appreciate Andrew's willingness to step up and take this role. He's doing a great job, but there is a lot to do, especially this time of the year as we close out the school year.
Oh, yes, indeed. Well, as we get here towards the end of the school year, I just wanted to take some opportunity to update you on some of the various technology initiatives that we have been diligently working on, and they're out to just support our students, our staff, and essentially our district as a whole. The world of technology is always updating at a rapid pace, and it's our responsibility to ensure that our educational environment keeps up with these changes. Through these initiatives, we're striving to enhance the learning experience, streamline processes, and ensure that safety and security of our systems, data, students, and staff are all at the highest level that we can provide. First and foremost, cybersecurity is an ever-increasing priority for us. We recognize the critical importance of safeguarding our systems and protecting the sensitive data of our students and our staff. In light of this, we've been evaluating our current cybersecurity measures and making significant updates to fortify our security. One of our recent decisions to streamline our systems involved migrating our staff's files from a local storage area network to Microsoft OneDrive. This transition offers our staff a more efficient and accessible way to store and access their files. Importantly, it ensures that our teachers will have uninterrupted access to their valuable resources, even during unexpected closures or inclement weather conditions. By embracing the cloud-based storage solutions, we're enabling seamless collaboration and enhanced productivity among all of our staff. And speaking of closures, which we had quite a few of them over this last year, the challenge that we faced have highlighted a growing desire to provide virtualized learning options during the case of extended closures. We are trying to set some foundational pieces to be able to support anything like that should we choose to move that direction. Part of that would, in addition to some of the previous items, would also be evaluating our current analog phone systems to see if a voice over IP system would be feasible for us. This would provide us with greater flexibility and maintainability for our entire communication structure. Ensuring that our systems also remain online and are accessible even during power outages are a critical aspect of our security, our technology infrastructure. And to achieve this, we are scheduling the replacement of some aging uninterruptible power supplies throughout the district. This will just make sure that our network will remain available even in the case of power outages. And for our team, device management plays a significant role in optimizing our resources and ensuring smooth operations. To this end, we'll be implementing an updated device management solution. The goal of this is, again, to streamline the management process of our devices, ensuring they receive the latest security updates promptly. And additionally, we're evaluating and updating our network infrastructure to improve its performance, reliability, and security. And we aim to provide a seamless, secure, and efficient experience for all users across our district, staff, student alike. Earlier this school year, we also successfully rolled out a cloud-based student information system, Infinite Campus, which we had already been on. But by moving over to the cloud-based model, that marks a significant milestone for us. It allows us to have greater accessibility to some of the critical student information while reducing some of the burdens that we have of on-site maintenance costs. Alongside with that, we're also working with our Child Nutrition Center to simplify the online and free reduced lunch application process. We understand the importance of ensuring that every student has access to nutritious meals, and our goal is to have a more user-friendly solution to help facilitate early completion of these applications, thus helping families avoid any unnecessary charges. This fall, we also eagerly anticipate the introduction of our new Unified Learning Management System, Canvas, and our team is working diligently in conjunction with Canvas to provide the support and interoperability between this system and other district systems as well. This also ties into our previously mentioned, we had an identity management process that we're creating. This is basically to reduce a lot of the manual processes that are involved, manual data entry between multiple departments, and this ensures that students get access to the resources they need quicker with more accuracy and less downtime in between, especially for students as they migrate between schools or come in new to the district. We also recognize the importance of efficient time management across our district, and in collaboration with our finance department, we're implementing an updated time management system. This system will improve the accuracy and efficiency of tracking and managing employee work hours, ensuring smoother payroll processes, and freeing up valuable time for our dedicated staff to focus on their core responsibilities. This will be due in large part, as stated before, to an increased interoperability between this system and other district tools. Also, to optimize our district technology resources, we'll be thoroughly reviewing our current inventory processes and conducting an evaluation where we can identify areas for improvement and implementing more effective management solutions. We aim to enhance the utilization of our technology resources more effectively in doing so that way. And finally, we're also awaiting some potential changes that may be coming from 2023 Senate Bill 182 that would establish a unified method of calculating high school credit received from completing post-secondary courses. So our development team is currently working to ensure that anything that comes out of that will calculate accurately within our student information system and have our students receive the appropriate credits for it. Ultimately, we're dedicated to providing the best possible learning environment for our students and staff, and want to equip them with all the technology resources they need in order to be successful.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any questions for Andrew?
He needs at least one question. It's first time up the podium.
Man.
I think it's
I
only
was
fair.
going to start with a joke, and my wife said not to embarrass her, and come to find out, computer jokes are not that funny. So
it's a universal truth, I think.
Well, I appreciate the update. You've been very busy, I know, since you started your role. So just appreciate all that you've done. And I know you've kind of jumped in with both feet, so to speak. So just thank you for the update. Appreciate it.
thank you very much.
All right, can I get a motion and a second to acknowledge the Information and Technology Services update?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. That passes. And on to the opt-out resolution.
Mr. Veek will talk to us about this next phase of our Plan 4 opt-out resolution.
Thank you. I think most of you recall that in 2019, we called, I think it was the 4th iteration, maybe, of the Finance Action Network, which had been meeting since around 2005. Finance Action Network is made up of a few district personnel, and then in 2019, it was 5 financial leaders from the business community. They go through our budget, they look for efficiencies, they look for realities, and then they make recommendations to the school board. So at that time, their recommendations included the following, their recommendations and discoveries, I guess, included the following. One, the opt-out is a critical component to the district budget. It enables the district to both deliver its current level of programming, but also provide some risk mitigation towards inadequate funding from the state and other sources of revenue. Not replacing at the time, the $7.5 million opt-out that was expiring in 2022 would be catastrophic to the school district budget. The school district has been fiscally conservative and only uses the portion of the opt-out critical to the district needs. They set a 10-year target amount of $15 million in 2019 dollars. An opt-out capacity is reasonable to maintain the opt-out used at a constant 5.2% of the budget, while maintaining a 2% contingency for the district. And that an opt-out laddering approach that adjusts for inflation, i.e. opt-out for overlapping smaller amounts every year instead of 1 or 2 large amounts every 5 or so years has merit, as it will allow the district to react on an annual basis to changes in need. So based on those recommendations, the school board to replace the $7.5 million opt-out that was expiring in a few years at the time, opted out for $1.5 million in 2020, $1.6 million in 2021, and $1.7 million in 2022. Those basically essentially replaced that, and we still levied that $9.1 million. Our 5-year plan last year had increasing the opt-out levied for at $11 million last year, and we did that through the FY23 budget process. This year, we are proposing to opt out for $1.9 million to move the district towards having the 2% contingency, because we're not there, but we're not increasing the opt-out. It's still at $11 million. So with that, the recommendation would be to approve the resolution you have in front of you, which is essentially a $1.9 million opt-out for 10 years. Stand by for questions.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Beek? Okay. We'll get a,
I'd move to approve the opt-out resolution.
second. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Passes. Thank you. Moving on to the canvass of the May 16th, 2023 election results.
And before you start on that, I just want to say a big thank you to Penny Baybridge. Penny was our polling place captain here at IPC and was willing to take on that role so that people could come and do their absentee voting. So just want to give you a shout out, Penny. I know there were days where there was a steady stream and you're nice and busy, but when there's not, it can be just a little quiet. So thank you for doing that. We appreciate it.
Yeah, so we ended last Tuesday, May 16th, we had a 6.1% turnout. It's the highest turnout for a school board only election since 2005. So that was kind of nice. And we did have a huge absentee turnout here for the 2 weeks before the election. So we, as you know, we use paper ballots instead of optical scan ballots. And because of that, the state law requires us to read the results from each vote center, which I'll do, and then I'll get to the roll up here in the end. What I'm going to do, if it's okay with you, Madam President, is I'm going to read the vote center, and then I'm going to just go with the numbers, 3 numbers. And Dawn Marie Johnson was first on the ballot, so her totals will be first. Then Nick Zachariason will be second, and he actually had pulled out, asked people not to vote for him, but we couldn't get him off the ballot due to state law. And then Brian Mattson will be third. So Peace Lutheran, 368-0210. Memorial Middle School, 432, 235. Career and Tech Ed Academy, 87-049. Mary Carr Community Center, 53-151. Oyate Community Center, 128-363. Our Redeemer Lutheran, 276, 1 and 124. First Lutheran Church, 412-192. Wesley United Methodist Church, 90-041. Kenny Anderson Community Center, 223-096. Morningside Community Center, 556, 1, 251. Gloria Day Lutheran Church, 436, 2, and 205. Faith Baptist Church, 434, and 293. IPC, 990, 3, 273. And the absentee voting center was 925, 1, and 246. So the totals were Dawn Marie Johnson at 5,406, Nick Zachariason at 20, and Brian Mattson at 2,229. So you have a motion in front of you that will acknowledge the canvass of the results of the school board race for 1 3-year term of office. With these results, Dawn Marie Johnson had 70.65% of the vote, Nick Zachariason 0.26, and Brian Mattson 29.13. Then the motion declares Dawn Marie Johnson as a duly elected member of the school board for a term of 3 years, commencing with the annual meeting to be held on July 10th, 2023. Thanks.
Thank you. I would like to congratulate Dawn on her election win and look forward to working with her when she starts in July. And thank you, Todd, for the results. Anybody else have any other comments?
You have to have a motion to move.
Yeah, I'm going there.
Okay, gotcha.
Just getting comments first.
Good job.
Can I get a motion and a second to acknowledge the canvass of the May 16th election results?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion passes. Thank you very much. Anything else for the good of the order?
No, I just want to thank all of you for your part at graduation this weekend. Appreciate your time, especially those of you who have children. I know that's a busy day no matter what. So we had 4 great graduation ceremonies and very little issue, if any. I didn't really even hear any. We were a little concerned because it was a pretty full house out there with all 3 of the venues housing graduations at one point in time during the day, so that seemed to work out well.
Thank you very much. All right, can I get a motion and a second to adjourn?
So moved.
Second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. They're adjourned. Thank you, everybody.